Hi everyone, it's Chase Chappell and we're in Phase 2, Module 6, which is Survey Funnel. First in this video today, we're going to go over the absolute essential foundational funnel for any high-ticket business running Facebook ads. It doesn't matter if it's done for you, one-on-one, group coaching, online courses, products, or agency services selling $1,000 a month or selling $1 million a year. The foundational funnel for any high-ticket business should always start with the survey funnel. And those are the things that we must absolutely get right. When we get these things right, it almost makes everything effortless. And it really makes things easy for us because we're simply building on these solid foundations and system that we laid in the beginning, and it blocks out all the other noise that just isn't necessary for getting results. All right, so here's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to be going over the survey funnel, and we're going to be getting clear on who is it for, what is it, and why we use it. And then we're going to be covering the high-level view of our high-volume funnel and how it works, the high-level view of the high-quality funnel and how it works, guiding principles, tracking sheet, and the marketing automation behind all of it. The survey funnel, what it is and why we use it. The survey funnel is the funnel that we start with if you're a high-ticket coach, consultant, expert, or agency owner, because it's the simplest funnel, most easily measured, and it generates the quickest results with the least amount of time, effort, tech, and cost. And the first objective that we go for is high volume. Your first objective with paid advertising is to generate a sufficient volume of page views, content views, leads, submit applications, and scheduled calls. And then the second objective is high quality. Once you've gotten your ads and funnel tuned and producing a sufficient volume, your priorities should change and quality will need to become more important to you than high volume, because you'll have the data to start targeting higher quality customers that convert faster and more frequently. And you'll start with this survey funnel because it's simple and quickly generates volume, so you can get all the data points you'll need to eventually start optimizing for quality. This funnel builds up data quickly for pixel events, gathering names, emails, current situations, conversion rates, and audiences, so that way you have all the information you need to optimize moving forward. And here's how the high volume funnel works. You start with launching Facebook ads, driving them to a landing page which asks for their email. They then submit their email and opt in to watch a free training, whether that's a webinar, a free training video. And then once they watch that, they then get sent to a survey where they need to complete a survey form. And then they'll be sent to a scheduled call and they'll get on the phone with you and you will sell them into your services or your program or your course or your one-on-one or your group coaching. And then they'll purchase. And this funnel is very simply put how it looks. It's really just a Facebook ad, a landing page, a training video, an application, a call, and then a purchase. You know, we have students using this funnel right now that are doing thousands of sales per week. We use this funnel and, you know, we do over 1 million. So like this funnel is extremely attractive and converts very well and gives you a lot more data than just about any other funnel out there. So if you're one of those things that we had just mentioned, then, you know, it's strongly advised that you use this high volume funnel. And let me show you an example of what it looks like. So the first thing that happens is they'll come from a Facebook ad and land on a landing page. And the landing page is relatively simple. It's not super extravagant. It's nothing like most people would normally see. There's not like a bunch of information. It's real simple. It just has a headline and it calls out who it's for. It's for Facebook marketers. So that could literally mean anyone. And you need to basically, you know, call out who it is that you want. And then you just need to have and then you need to test a good headline that converts well. And then you just simply need a few bullet points that states what they're going to learn on your free training. And then once they land on this landing page, they just simply click on the button and get access to the training. They're then sent to the training and they watch the webinar. And this webinar is nothing fancy either. It's simply just the slides. You know, there's really no special format to it. It's very simple, nothing too fancy, because you don't want to overload people with fancy things and like messenger bots and all kinds of random stuff that's just firing off when it could be very simple. Most people overcomplicate things and it's just not necessary. So this is the actual webinar page. So they'll watch this and they have access to go ahead and book their strategy session. It's a free strategy session for them where they can get on a call with you, so that way you can help them with whatever it is that you do. If you help them grow their business, if you help provide a service, you explain to them on the phone how you can help, and then you'll decide together whether or not they're a good fit, and then you make an offer for them to purchase your product or service, and then that's it. It's really that simple. And you can see that on this page, it's just a headline, a webinar, and a button, and this is not even a menu. This isn't clickable. It's just, those are really the main things. Now at the bottom here, if people were to scroll down, they can find out what's in this video. So we have a few bullet points here that explains what they'll find out in the video. And then we have a few testimonials at the bottom, but it's not even necessary. We added this so later on, and we were converting plenty without all of this information down here. And it's really not much. It's just a few testimonials and the button, and that's it. A lot of times people try to have all of this fancy stuff on their site. They try to have multiple paragraphs. They try to have special buttons. They try to have call to actions, timers, all of that stuff. It's really just not necessary. We don't even provide menu options on this video. So that just goes to show like how simple this actually can be, and it's very scalable, and the less you have to do in order to convert, the better. So once they watch the video, they can click book their strategy session, and they'll be sent to the survey page, and this is where they'll complete the survey. And the survey is for gathering data on your potential customers. So whenever you get on the call, you'll have all the information you need about their current situation and how you can help them. So in our case, we ask a few questions. We want to see what they want to do. Do they want to run ads for their clients? Do they want them for themselves? What is it that they want to do? And they'll select an option. They'll provide their name. They'll give their email, and then they'll give their website URL if they have one. And you can ask the relevant questions you need to gauge whether or not this person is qualified or not. And getting this insight is very good because you can see over here on the pixel, every time that person clicks a button, it's sending that data to Facebook, which is being used to optimize better for you. And so we continue down this line and they hit next. We ask what their current monthly revenue is, because that way it gauges whether or not they'll be able to financially afford our services or products. Working with us is not cheap, so we have to ask these questions to really understand if, it's the right fit for them. Because if somebody financially can't afford it, then a lot of times, we're not going to push on them. And if that's the case, then we're really just there to help and hopefully get them as a client in the future when they can afford it. And if you don't ask questions like these, you'll never know. So it's really important, so that way we can gauge if the customer is going to be a quality one and will convert, or if they're just not qualified and can't move forward because of, a financial reason. So they'll select how much they make monthly, and then they'll put in what their target is, because we help them scale their business. So they'll type in what their target monthly revenue goal is. And so they would submit that. And then we ask the question, what do you feel is your biggest obstacle? So we're basically wanting to know what their pain points are with the product or services we offer, so that way we can help them. That way we're not getting on the call and not completely clueless. That way we actually know how we can help. And so they'll submit that here. And then they'll briefly describe their business, because we help business owners. And we ask them, who do you serve? What do you sell? What's the price point? And you can see we're asking all these questions to gauge better information. And they'll continue down this line, and we'll ask, how willing and able are you to invest in the growth of your business? Because, if we're going to help these people and get on the calls with them, we want to see where their situation's at. And if we think they're a good fit for our products and services, and we think we can help them scale their business and grow, we'll make them an offer on the call. And, if we make this offer, we want to know if it's because they don't want our product or service, or if it's because they can't financially afford our product or service. There's two distinct differences there, because they might actually really want to join, but they might just not be in a financial position to do so. So we have to ask this question to see if, they're able to. And if so, and we think they're of good quality, we'll make the offer. And so they'll continue, and we ask if they're accepted, how soon can you get started? So if you offer a product or a service as an agency, if you're an online coach, whatever it is that you offer, you have to end up selling them into something, right? So you basically ask this question: if you're accepted, how soon can you get started? And they'll tell you, they'll say like this week, because they might reach out wanting to solve their problem, but they don't want to solve that problem until like a few months later. And if that's the case, we really can't help them with anything right now, because they're going to have to come back to us a few months later. So it's really important that we ask this question, because they can submit that info and we can use that to then understand, okay, this person isn't ready to move forward today. There's some objections that they have, and there's things that they have to figure out so that way they can get to that point. And this allows us to decide whether or not we're going to be taking specific calls, and which calls we can use as quality, and we can gather all this data and start optimizing towards the potential customers that we are able to help. And so when they submit that, it then sends that conversion information to Facebook. It tells it that they just submitted a survey and it attributes it to the ad. And then they're sent to our book a call page where, there's no menu. It's once again very, very simple. There's nothing extravagant about this at all. I mean, it's a completely white page with just a few dates. We're not sending them through all these loops that are just, overwhelming and just flushing them with data and information. It's just like, people can't handle that. This is very simple. It's so obvious that they just click and confirm, and that's it. They book a call, and then we call them. That's the process. It's very simple. We make the offer, and if they join, they join. And they have all the information they need to know. They know it's a 45-minute strategy session call. They know that what we're going to do is we're going to scale their business, and this is all just on Calendly, and it's just embedded on our site. And you can also see, we went through all this, each of these phases pretty simply. It's just a Facebook ad that goes to a landing page that then goes to a training video. You can call it a webinar, or you can call it a training video, where you just break down how you can help them and the types of customers you help. And that's going to disqualify people, and that's going to qualify people, and that's going to say, okay, well, that person's going to be able to identify that they want to work with you. So they'll then click to book a call, where they'll submit the survey and give you more information so you can have a better understanding of going into this call. And so that way you're not blind going in. And then on the call, you explain how you can help and, understand their situation. If y'all are a good fit, you then make the offer, and then they'll decide whether or not to purchase right then and there. And, it's not any more complicated than this. This is as simple as it gets. This is the system, right? You spend money on Facebook ads. People then come to your landing page while you're sleeping. When you're out eating, when you're gone away, they convert, they become a lead, and then they watch your training. That's not you. It's a pre-recorded training. That training's always on. You only have to shoot it once. And then they submit the survey, which sends all of the data to Facebook. It sends it to your email and notifies you that you got somebody to submit a survey. It's all automated. It's completely an automated process. There's no, self-scheduling. There's no emailing asking for info. There's no constantly shooting these trainings. There's no setting up multiple landing pages. It's really just one of each. And then once it's done, it's done. It's as simple as it sounds, and it's as simple as it gets. And we have people doing huge numbers with these in the program right now. And it's highly advised that you use this funnel to get high volume initially. And they get on the call, and you make the offer, and then they purchase. That's it. So let's talk about the survey funnel's math, the conversions behind it. So the survey funnel, we have a student benchmark. These are the conversion rates for, the students that we have and our clients. And these are the conversion rates that we see with this funnel. And this is the benchmark that you want to beat. You want to get a higher click-through rate on your ads of 1%. So anybody who viewed your ad and then clicked to go to your landing page, as long as you have a higher than 1%, you're already beating the student benchmark. Now, if you're above a 0.5%, you're above average. So like the average right now is of 0.5% for most people. Our students average a 1%. And if you're beating a 1%, that's great. And if you're above a 5%, you're already above average. Now, if you're below the 5%, then you're going to want to improve it. You're going to want to improve your ads because that means your ads don't have a good enough call to action. The next thing to look for is the landing page conversion rate. This is anybody who visits your landing page and converts to a lead. So the student benchmark is 30%. Out of all the people who click on the ad and visit the landing page, at least 30% of the people who view the landing page convert. That's our student benchmark. That's what the students' average are and our clients' average are. And then the overall average for most people is about 20%. So about 20% of the people who land on the landing page will convert into a lead. So if you're anything below those two numbers, and if you're below a 20%, then that just means you need to improve your landing page. You need to try a new headline, you need to try a new call to action, or you need to make a better offer. And if you're above a 30%, then leave it. It's working. That's good. And then the webinar conversion rate, which is your training. So that's anybody who watches your training and converts and completes a survey. So if they watch the training and complete a survey after watching the video, you're going to want to beat 15%. So that's out of 10 people who watch it, at least one person should move forward and complete a survey. That's what you have to beat. Now the average is 8%, so that's really, more than 10 people have to watch it to get one single person to submit a survey. And if you're lower than 8%, you really want to get that number higher because you're just not going to be getting enough people to submit a survey for you to be able to have enough data to start optimizing. And then from all the people who complete the survey and are directed to the schedule page, at least 80% of those people should book a call. So, for every 10 people who complete a survey, at least 8 of them should book a call. And that's the student benchmark that we have. Now, the overall average is 6 out of 10 people should book a call after they complete the survey. And if you're anything lower than that, then that means that when they land on your call page, it's just not obvious. There could be a technical error. It could be, loading slowly. So you're going to have to figure out why is it that, out of all the people who complete the survey, they're not converting to a call. So usually an 80% or higher is pretty good. And that's also, it's very easy to do as well. And then from all the people who get on a phone call with you, our student benchmark and client benchmark is 20%. So out of, 10 people you speak with on the phone, 2 of them will purchase. And, when you're doing high ticket, those numbers add up pretty quickly. If you're selling a $500 product and you speak to 10 people, you made already $1,000 just by converting 2 people into a customer. And that's a system in itself. It's very repeatable. Like, most people don't understand understand conversion rates. They don't even look at them. And we're giving you these benchmarks so that way you can weigh your performance against our students and our clients' performance. So that way you can understand what you need to improve. Most of the times people are given, funnels and these other programs and are advised on things, but they don't know how they work. They don't know the conversion rates. They don't even know what the reason for them is. They just know they've been told to do it. But here's the reason. You have to have these conversion rates because if you're not getting these numbers, you're just not getting enough volume of people to move forward in the process. So as long as you're beating these numbers or you're averaging or hitting an above average, then, that's good. So right now you're going to download the tracking sheet below, and this is the survey funnel tracking sheet, and I'm going to show you how to set this up and use it. Now, the first thing we're going to do is go to the Ads Manager, and this is a testing account that I created for example purposes. And you can see there's some of the audiences that we have here. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to want to build out our tracking sheet in here so we can see how our funnel's converting. And if you don't already have your funnel set up, don't worry, we're going to be covering that soon enough. Right now, we're just setting up the dashboard for the analytics so that way when we do build out our funnel, this will already be set up, so it's going to send information and the tracking will already be there. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to want to click and change it to a full month's view. So you can either do last month or this month. You're then going to go to create custom report. And in the custom report, you're simply going to remove the ad set. You're going to type in daily, day, and we need the days because we need to know how many days that the ads ran. We don't need these columns. The only columns we need are clicks, link clicks, then we need impressions, we need amount spent, and then we need leads, and then we need submit applications, which is the application submitted. Application submitted is just the technical term for survey. It's the same thing, just two different words. Application submitted is just Facebook's way of tracking it. We call it a survey because, it's a lot easier to use and it's very simple. Then you need calls scheduled or schedule call. It's just called schedule for Facebook. And that's Facebook's way of tracking it. They title it schedule. And then you need purchases. And that's it. That's all you need. Those are the main things. And just to confirm, that's it. We need ad spend, impressions, clicks, leads, surveys, calls, purchases. Yep, we got them all. And so once you do that, you're going to save it. And then you are going to download this report as a CSV. And once you open up the CSV file, you're simply just going to copy each row, each column, and paste it into the tracking sheet. So we'll just go to our tracking sheet and we'll go to the example file and we'll paste it under ad spend. And then we'll copy our link clicks. Impressions. And we'll copy our leads. And then we'll just make up, for example purposes, as if some surveys came through. One here. All right, so this is just for an example. So the first thing that you're going to go through is you're going to complete step 1. You're going to define your monthly marketing budget. So whatever money you have that is going to be towards your marketing budget, you should have already defined this a while back in our guiding principles worksheet. where you decided on your monthly marketing budget. So let's just say our monthly marketing budget is $2,000, for example. And if whatever your product or service that you're going to be selling on these Facebook ads, if you're an agency that sells marketing services for like Google Ads or social media, whatever the case is, whatever your monthly fee is, if it's like $1,000 per month, that's what you'd put down. Or if you have an online course and it is $500, that's what you would put here. Or if it's $1,000, that's what you put here. Let's say our online program is $1,000. That's how much we charge to get people into a program and for them to learn. And so what is your desirable return on ad spend that is within reason? So what would you be happy with getting? And we'll just say, for our example, a 3. Yours could be higher, it could be lower. What is the minimum return on ad spend you will let your ads go down to? So what is the minimum that you're willing to keep your ads on for? So this is the number that basically is like, okay, as long as we're hitting this or higher, that works for us. We'll say that our example is 1. That's just to break even. We're simply happy with, breaking even, because that allows us to cover all of the advertising expenses. So once you enter those 4 things, it's going to populate your high-low calculator, which your high-low points worksheet. This is the same thing, except it's just built into the tracking sheet now. You should have already had this high-low point worksheet finished and completed. And it's going to give you the results. So in order for us to get a 3x return on ad spend, we simply just have to get 6 purchases, and we can pay no more than $333 per purchase. And if we, get those 6 purchases, that'll be over $6,000 in purchasing conversion value. Because if the program cost $1,000 and we get 6 people to buy it, that is $6,000. And if we want to break even, or if we just want to, if we want to break even with our return on ad spend, we'd simply just have to get 2 purchases at $1,000 each. So once we have those insights, you would then do step 5, which is enter in your current month's results in the table below to see if you're within KPI. And so we've already entered those in, and I'll update this version so we can. And once you've already entered those in, it should look something like this initially. If you only have a few days, or if you have a full month's worth of data pasted in here, the white columns are the ones that you are going to be pasting information into, and the gray columns are automatically have formulas in them. They auto-calculate everything for you. So let's go through each of these rows. So we spent $10.38 on Tuesday, October 1st. And 171 people saw that impression, and 2 people clicked, and nobody became a lead. So that's it. They didn't become a survey because they didn't become a lead. So it's not possible for these to have any numbers because there was no leads. Then there's ad spend and 3 clicks. That's a 2%. And you can see that already our click-through rate's at a 1.72. If you remember, we just covered this. It's already above the student benchmark, which is a 1%. So, we know that the ads are getting a good click-through rate. The leads are at a 25%. So out of all the people who visited the page, out of the 16 people who visited the page, 4 turned into a lead. That's a 25%. That's above average, but it's not beating the student benchmark of 30%. And you can quickly see how those student benchmarks play into your own metrics. We make this thing as clear as possible. If there's a problem, we'll see it. If we're below average, then we know what to fix. There's no guessing involved. It's completely data driven. You can see the numbers, and they're speaking the honest truth to you. It's telling you, something's wrong because our students and clients are getting, better results, and the overall average for anybody who would implement this funnel, they're still beating you in results. So like if you're below both of those, then you really know that that's an obvious problem you could improve on. And that's not a bad thing to know. That's great to know. The more honest and truthful data you can get sent your way, the more obvious it is for you to fix issues in the business and improve your conversion rates. And that's what successful business owners do. They know all their numbers. And if they're able to know their numbers and they're able to know the honest truth about their data and able to map out the process, they know exactly how much business they can be getting at any given point. They know how much they're making. They know everything. And that's exactly what we're doing here, is setting all that up so you can track it. So moving along, it looks like there was one survey. So out of the lead, one person ended up watching the webinar. So that's the WCR, webinar conversion rate. That means out of that one person, one of them, that same person submitted a survey. And once they submitted a survey, they scheduled a call. And then we had gotten on the call with them and they had purchased. And they purchased our $1,000 product, which is our program, for example. And we collected a $1,000 payment. So they paid in full. And so that basically means like we spent a total of $53, reached only 932 people. Out of that 932, 16 of them clicked to the landing page, and out of that 16, 4 of them became a lead. And out of those 4 leads, one of them submitted a survey, and out of that one, that same person then scheduled a call, and that same person then ended up purchasing. And it cost us a total of $53 cost per purchase to make $1,000 in revenue, and we collected $1,000 as a payment. So that's the cash. We got a return on investment of $947 because we spent $53 on ads. So that's why it's $947, and that's a 19x return on ad spend. And then our cash is also $947 and a 19x return on ad spend. And these are in green. It's basically telling you that you are already doing great because you need to beat, it says right here, if you had entered your numbers correctly, yours should tell you what your cost per purchase is at your high point, what's the absolute highest you could pay in order to hit your highest return on ad spend. In ours, for example, is $333, and we were able to beat that and got a $53 purchase. So it's in green. And then right here, our ROI is $947. That's already good because, we're not losing money. We're making money. That's profit. And then a 19x return on ad spend. Our desirable return on ad spend that we entered was a 3. And we ended up getting a 19x, for example. So you would enter in these numbers, and these would turn red depending on if you're not hitting the numbers. And if these conversion rates aren't within student benchmark, you'll know what to improve. So let's do this again, for example. Let's say that you're selling an online program, except this time one of these leads submitted a survey, they got on a call, and they also purchased. So you made $1,000 in revenue, but you offered them a payment plan. If you have a payment plan option, you might. So then in this case, if you split it into 2 payments, then you collected $500. So then you can see that your cash return on ad spend is a 28.5x, but your return on ad spend from revenue is a 38. Now let's say you're an agency owner who charges monthly. Well, if you have a contract, and let's say that you charge $1,000 per month and you sign a 3-month contract, then you would put down $3,000 for revenue. Because if you sign a 3-month contract, that guarantees you 3 months of payments. And then you just put down the first month's payment under the cash column. And that tells you how much you've collected on cash and what your return is. And then it also tells you what the total revenue is for gaining that client. So, your revenue column is basically what you're going to make in the lifetime of being with that customer. So if it's a contract or if it's, whatever the total price is, you'll put that number there. And then whatever you collect as the very first payment, you'll put that on the cash column. And the reason we do that is so that way we always know how much money's coming in cash and how much money is going out in ad spend. Because if we're spending more on ads and making less on cash, then at some point, the money will run out. So it's important that we see these metrics and know what to improve and when to improve it. And let me give you another example that is extremely common when you're using a funnel like this. So many people run into this and they panic. So let me show you what could happen. Let's say there's no purchases. All right, so for example, let me just pull these down. And this is how you keep the formulas intact. You can just pull them down so that way it calculates everything for you. And if it says this hashtag div/0 thing, that's okay. That just means you don't have any data in the column before it, so it can't calculate. It can only calculate when there's actually analytics there, which is fine. So just leave it how it is. And then pull this down. All right, so this is another example. Let's say that you're spending $100 a day, you're getting impressions, you're getting clicks, you're getting leads, and you're only getting a few. You go on an absolute losing streak with getting surveys, right? You're probably thinking like, hey, there's something wrong with the video, like the webinar that we shot. Nobody is coming from the webinar and submitting a survey. You're spending all this money, and then all of a sudden on the at the very bottom here on the 21st day, after like 15 straight days of 0 surveys, all of a sudden the audience finds a perfect strain of individuals after compiling all the data it's been getting, and it gets you 5 people to submit a survey. And then you have 5 calls, and on those 5 calls you find out those 5 people are extremely qualified, and 4 of them make a purchase with you. And so if you're charging $1,000, for example, whatever your cost is, you would end up making $4,000 on that day, and then $4,000 cash. And you can see that right here that you spent $2,100, but you ended up making $2,900 after spending the 21. You ended up making money. You ended up getting a 2.4 because if your minimum was a 1, so all these numbers are good, right? These are all good numbers. But like you could see where the panic and anxiety could start happening, because every day that you're going through this, you're just seeing it go deeper and deeper in the hole. You're like, we're spending all this money, we're not getting any of the surveys, and you're probably wondering like, even I at this point would be like maybe we need to fix something. But in most cases, you need to stick it out for some time, because there are occurrences, and they're very common, to go, a full week. People in our program have gone an entire week without a sale, and then the following week on a Monday, they'll get like 6 sales, and it makes up more money than they'd made in the last 3 weeks all on one single day. But if they turned off their ads, if you had turned off your ads on the 20th, well, you would have never made it to the 21st to see that all of those surveys would have came in. So this is very common. This is just simple statistics. It's this is what happens with math. I mean, it's just how probability happens. When you flip a coin, it says that it's going to be heads or tails 50% of the time, and it's true. But the thing is, you could, flip that coin and get heads the first 10 times, and then get tails the next 10 times, which is still a 50% flip rate. But the thing is, it seems like it's only heads 100% of the time when you've gone 10 straight flips, and it's always landed on the same side. So that's just probability for you. So there will be times, it's not always perfect math. And, there'll be cases where you'll go a few days without nothing, and then all of a sudden you'll have one day that ends up making it all worth it, right? So look for these. And it's important to also understand why you might be getting a bunch of zeros, but it is common. It does happen. So, it's important to stick in there, but also pay attention to your conversion rates. Because if you look here, every day before the 21st, it looks like we're still within KPI for the webinar conversion rate. It's at a 15%. If you saw our student benchmark, right here, it's above a 15%. If we look at it again, for the calls, we're at 100%. It's already above the student benchmark. And the purchase conversion, let's see what that looks like. It's at a 33%, which is above the 20%. So like every single one of these metrics would have beaten the student benchmark. You can see that we beat every single one of the student benchmarks, which is great. But the thing is, you might be wondering like, why is it that we have all in the red? We're still losing money, but beating the student benchmark. And that can happen. But the thing is, remember, we hadn't made it to the 21st day. So let's say on the 21st day that these results come in. And then the next thing you know, you're not only beating the student average on all the metrics, but you're also up on cash, you're up on your return, and you're getting an ROI of a 2.4. So like if all the conversion numbers are showing you that they're in the right direction, you're above average, above average, above average, above average, but you're, completely in the red, that's probability for you. It means it's going to work out, so just give it time. Like, let it run the course and see what happens, because this is probably what will happen. You'll have one day where you just make it all back on cash, and, it's great. But it's also, requires a warrior mindset to be able to go this long without anything. That could really damage somebody in terms of like their thought process. They'll be thinking like, there must be something wrong. But if all the metrics are pointing in the right direction, which they are, and you're still losing money, it just means it's, that's the probability factor of this. You got to give it time so the math can play out. And in this case, it did. But let's do a different example. Maybe you're below average on every single one of these metrics, right? Your click-through rate's below average. You're below average here. Let's say it's a 36, a 0.36, that's below average. And then your lead conversion rate is 18, that's below average. And then your surveys are 0%, that's, we at least need one in here. 20%, so that is above average. And then your calls, you do 1 call, that's 100%. And you get 1 purchase, and that's 100%. So you might be out of KPI on your click-through rate, but you're within KPI on everything else, and that is possible. But what you got to focus on is, what is it that you can do to improve this? And that's it. So now you just know that, like in this case, it would be your ads. So you can see these conversion metrics at any given point and know exactly what you need to improve. So go ahead and make sure you download this and use this sheet. Put in your high-low points worksheet here. You can paste the numbers, and then you just simply go through the process of reporting that I showed you here. You're going to build this out, you're going to save it, and you're going to download this current month. Every single week you'll upload those metrics into your tracking sheet, and then you'll just look at this data and you'll know what to improve. If you're getting a really low conversion rate on something, you know what to improve. And that's going to allow you to become, a man of the machine. You're going to literally be able to understand how to operate this system just by looking at its numbers. You'll know if it's piping hot and sending you loads of business and getting you a ton of leads and a ton of sales. And you'll know when the thing's like broken and just like not doing anything. It's just pooting. It's not even doing anything. And you'll know, okay, well, here's the number, here's the conversion rates, what do I need to fix? And you'll be able to fix it. So this gives you that actual view of what successful business owners do. They know their numbers, and this is what this provides you with. So make sure you weigh that against the student benchmark to beat. And if you're beating it, don't mess with it. Just leave it how it is. There's no reason to change something if it's working. And the key success metric and the guiding principle is the ROI and return on ad spend. It doesn't matter what the conversion rates are. It doesn't matter about anything else if your return on ad spend is positive. Like if you're getting a good return on ad spend, you're making money back. If you're spending $1 and making $5 every single time and all of your conversion rates are just totally terrible, then forget about the conversion rates, because if you're getting a good return on ad spend, keep in mind, that is the one key success metric. It trumps all other metrics, all of them. If your return on ad spend is positive, it's a good return on ad spend, you're getting a good ROI, I don't care what the conversion rates are, that means that metric is your guiding principle. And if that is in the positive and you're happy with that number, then that's good. There's no reason to even worry about the conversion rates if you're getting a good return. Now, the conversion rates that we do focus on, all those things we just went through, are there to help you get to a good return on ad spend. So just understand how those two operate together. And this is the survey funnel marketing automation. Now, we're going to cover in a video below how to set all of this up. It's really not complicated. It's simply just a system, and once it's done, and it's set up, and it's moving, it's converting, and it's working. And it's really only composed of a few things. And it's just simply your landing page, your webinar training, your survey, your scheduled call, and your purchase. You can still see that simple funnel right there. That's the funnel. Then the marketing automation is everything else that helps people move through this process. It's the nurturing process. And that's if they miss the webinar, they'll receive an email that follows up with them and sends them to the survey. That way you can capture people who fell out of the process. It saves you money, and it's just good to nurture these people and convert them, because you'll convert more people if you have the marketing automation in place. They visit the survey and they don't complete it, they get followed up with to complete it and schedule a call. If they don't book a call but they visited the schedule page, they get followed up to book a call and they purchase. It's that simple. This process, the marketing automation, is simply just there to help people move forward in the process if they drop out at some point. If they leave the page, if they got distracted, whatever the case is, the marketing automation is simply there just to get them back into the funnel, to move them along in the process. And then on top, we have our value emails, which is weekly emails that you should be sending out. Some of our students send them daily. We send them daily. That's not required. We understand that, there's family, there's business, there's a lot of things going on that takes up a lot of time, and writing daily emails can be time consuming. And it's really just one email a week that you really need to keep people moving forward in the process. So the value emails are just to give value and educate and show results that you get for your customers and how your customers are happy. And then the retargeting. That's the only other piece to the marketing automation. And once you have that in place, it's really fully set up and the thing's running and it's moving and people are converting, and that's it. The Facebook retargeting gets people back. If they landed on the landing page and they didn't become a lead, it retargets them and gets them to become a lead. If they watched the webinar but didn't complete a survey, there's an ad that shows to them to get them to go back to the survey, and it just keeps them in each of these processes. And so it's really very simple. It's just 3 parts. One is the main simple funnel, and that's where people move through. This is the nurture system, and then the retargeting system to get them back in. That's it. 3 parts. It's marketing automation. And if you want to see how to set up this tech and how to do that, then go ahead and click below and watch the video so you can get this set up. So here's what we covered today. We covered the survey funnel, what it is, how we use it. We covered the high-level view, the high volume funnel and how it works, the guiding principles, the tracking sheet that you can download now and start using, and the marketing automation for how to set all of it up. So thank you for watching this video.